Last week I attended a meal with our sixth form leavers. They arranged it and invited their teachers. They chose, a week or so after they had finished their A-level exams, to spend Friday evening, or at least the earlier part of it, with their teachers. There were about 25-30 of us in total. There was no need for a seating plan. We sat down, teachers amongst pupils, pupils amongst teachers. There was no them and us, just open conversation and lots of laughter. The two leavers, unfortunate enough to be sat either side of the headmaster, spoke easily with no side or arrogance about their time at NSB, their plans for the summer, the university, and their hopes and ambitions beyond. For me, the evening said a lot about our school, but it also said a lot about our leavers, their time at school, and their future prospects. I have just two pieces of advice for those leavers. The first is to encourage them to find, if they haven't already, their passion in life, and to do everything they can to pursue that passion, rather than simply to find a job or a career or to pursue a lifestyle. All of the successful, happy and fulfilled people I've met get out of bed each morning because they want to pursue something they are passionate about and have found the opportunity to do so. I've met many more people who get out of bed each morning rather less willingly because they have to do a job. And the second piece of advice is simply to work hard. Again, I've not really met or heard of anybody being genuinely successful without hard work. A few months ago I heard another former rugby player, Sean Fitzpatrick, capped 127 times by the All Blacks, speak in this very hall. The comment of his from that evening that struck me was, most people aren't successful because most people aren't prepared to make the sacrifices required to be successful. I'd like to invite our Year 13 leavers to come forward now as we hear their tributes from Sixth Form Tutor Mr Tucker, our Head of Sixth Form Mrs Rourke, and Senior School Deputy Heads Mrs Newman and Allen. Boys.
Friends, I'm going to start with James Strong. James joined NSB in 2013 from St Benedict's Scopes. I've never actually had the pleasure of teaching James, but when he joined us, I certainly remember thinking he seemed a very outgoing and extremely energetic young man, and he certainly didn't fail to deliver in sixth form. We've seen some absolutely stunning performances from James over the past few years, both on the rugby pitch, when he hasn't been injured, and demonstrating his fine acting skills in Askham House's play last year. I know Mr Caulfield in particular is going to thoroughly miss James, having spent an awful lot of time with him this year for media and EPQ. I do have a feeling Mr Caulfield's a little aggrieved that he's never been asked to train with James, because that's a big part of James's life, particularly on Mondays, which I'm not mistaken is designated bicep day. James has an extremely exciting summer ahead of him as he heads off by himself, which the trip is organised all by himself to Alaska with Trek America. We wish James all the best for his trip and for his future when he heads off to Leeds to study sport and exercise science at university. Thomas Cross. Thomas joined NSB in 2012 for Year 10 from a course at André in France. During his time here, Tom has made huge contributions to school life, including on the sports field, particularly in rugby, and also in his role as head of Newlands House. I'm sure it really was the best day of Tom's life when he saw his house clinch the House Music Prize this year, even in, as Mr Tickner has already mentioned, slightly controversial circumstances. Tom is a very charming young man who uses his French suave to maximum effect, both in and, if the rumours are true, out of school. Indeed, when I taught Tom at GCSE, if ever his work was not detailed or accurate enough, he would simply, with a shrug of his shoulders, tell me, it's because I'm international. Tom is an extremely personable and positive young man, and I have no doubt he will succeed as he heads off to Northumbria University to study sport and exercise science with psychology. Zane Johnson. Zane joined NSB in 2009 in Year 7 from Craigside. Zane is a very considered and quiet member of our sixth form and seems to be known as the clever one amongst his peers. When writing Zane's speech, there was only really one man who I really had to consult, a member of staff who, by Zane's own admission, he spends more time with than his own family. Mr. Brash was indeed able to give me a few interesting snippets about Zane, including the fact that he absolutely loves quizzes. I think that's because he always wins. And that he can also name all the American presidents in chronological order. Feel free to test him on that later. With Zane's love of politics, and the fact that he has quite a few pretty important jobs going in that sector at the moment, I'm sure he'll go far. Despite his interest in politics, psychology is his real passion, and we wish him all the best as he heads off to study this subject at Glasgow University. Now, I had real trouble with this last speech, quite simply because there is so much I could say about this person. So this is very much the edited and probably censored version, because I'm not sure a lot of it will be appropriate. So last but certainly not least is Ed Dobson. To me, Ed Dobson is what NSB is all about, and that is developing young men of excellent character. NSB has been an extremely important part of Ed's life, having been at Askham House School from the age of 3, and NSB as we know it for the past 10 years. I think it's fair to say it hasn't all been plain sailing. There have been highs and lows, but on the whole, Ed's time at NSB has been filled with many positive experiences and fantastic contributions to the school community, including his role as captain of the first level football team in sixth form and his active participation in house activities. Ed is going to be a huge miss to NSB, and I have no doubt staff will remember him for a whole variety of reasons, some good, probably some not so good, as those who've left NSB still remember him. There are some things I will definitely miss about Ed, namely his frequent visits to the sixth form office for nothing but just a little chat. However, there's also a lot of things I definitely won't miss about Ed, including his love of rearranging the common room soft furnishings and his complaining about the harshness of my marking. Ed's still not completely certain about his future plans, but I for one really hope he pursues his dream of becoming a pilot. I wait the day I get on the plane and hear this is your captain Ed Dobson speaking, and I'm not sure at that point whether I'd feel incredibly proud or simply just want to get off. Indeed, whatever he decides to do, I think Ed's personality and absolutely endless energy will allow him to talk his way into almost anything, just as he seemingly manages to talk his way out of most things this year. Whatever the future holds for Ed, I know he'll be successful, and I can genuinely say, as he leaves NSB after 15 years here, I don't think I've ever met a more genuine, honest and thoughtful young man as Ed. We wish you all the best for your future, Ed.
Alistair Monty joined NSB from Dave Adams in 2012. By year 13, Alistair had been appointed Deputy Head of Aldridge House, and he's carried out his duties in a characteristically conscientious manner. He studied French and German at A2, and has also worked very hard towards an extended project qualification. One of my favourite moments as a tutor was watching someone who was usually so shy and quiet give a passionate and powerful presentation on the work of Maggie's Cancer Care Charity. It was a real eye-opener into his character. During registration, Alistair always seemed to be just nipping off to Westfield, sir. In my instance, I always assumed that he was hurrying to his German lesson, but the real reason for his haste to leave became clear later, when Westfield's head of sixth form told me how he could frequently be found relaxing on the settee in their common room, surrounded by a variety of young ladies. Alistair is a pleasure to have as a tutee. He's a very caring and polite young man. On leaving NSB, Alistair plans to have a gap year before pursuing his studies in accountancy and French. Will has been with us since he joined Newlands in 2001 at the age of 3. After an academic career of varying success at Key Stage 3 and GCSE, he took to life in the sixth form like a duck to water, showing a very mature attitude to his studies and attaining very impressive grades at AS. As his tutor, I was continually in his debt for him helping me to remember who was in school, who was later going where, and generally keeping me straight about what was going on. I also enjoyed listening to his discussions with his peers on a variety of subjects, ranging from American politics to the ethics and morality of teenage relationships. In year 13, Will was appointed head of Aldridge House, and he carried out his duties in a responsible and determined way. He has a real passion for sport, and was a great, respected captain for the first 15 rugby team. He is the greatest advocate and defender of NSB. The three words his peers think best describe him are captain, leader, and legend. At A2, Will studied PE, politics, and business and economics. On leaving NSB, Will is intending to study marketing at Northumbria University. Nirav Landa. Nirav, or Niv, is another lifer, and he's been with us since he joined Aspen School at the age of 3 in 2001. Nirav has been an excellent deputy head boy. He has a real empathy for others, and the younger boys in school know that they can always ask him for help or assistance. He also did sterling work from Newlands House during the house music competition, making a vital contribution to Newlands' final, overwhelming, and thoroughly deserved victory. Nirav has a wonderful and sometimes baffling sense of humour, and he has never let the inappropriateness of the situation stop him from making a joke about it. This sense of humour was a great morale booster during his Gold Duke of Edinburgh exhibition achievements. He is obsessed with the band Queen and is a bona fide guitar hero. One of my fondest memories is of him teaching me how to play Fat Bottom Girls and listening to him play virtually the whole back catalogue of Queen songs in Rock Club with Mr. Hopkinson. Nirav is also a bit of a secret ninja, having earned a black belt third dan in karate. At A2, Nirav studied biology, chemistry and mathematics, and upon leaving NSB, he's looking forward to studying forensic biology at Northumbria University.
Zeb Kiffin. Zeb has been a student at Newcastle School for Boys for 6 years, having joined the International School of Eindhoven in 2010. His quiet and reserved manner has always belied a very keen and serious young man. In fact, he displays the same qualities in his quest for academic success as those which have helped him excel in his chosen sport. Perseverance, tenacity, and a significant capacity for endurance have helped him in the classroom. It's perhaps no surprise these same qualities have helped him achieve significant success as an amateur cyclist. He aspires to go on to study industrial design at Loughborough, where no doubt he will take the opportunity to further his already impressive cycling career, but hopefully avoiding the trees this time, as well as his academic development. Ian Parsons. Ian has been a student at Newcastle School for Boys for an impressive 10 years, having joined in Year 4 from Newcastle Prep School in 2006. He is a young man with a keen sense of humour, a keen bowling arm, one of his parting Passing gifts to the school was recording impressive figures of 3 wickets for 3 runs and just 1 over in his last match of the season, and a willingness to be involved irrespective of the activity in question. Such qualities have led him to be a popular tourist in the rugby tour to South Africa last summer, and to him having a prominent role in the school house system as head of Maida House. He has aspirations to go on to study history at Sheffield Hallam University, and we wish him all the best in this and all other future pursuits.
Leon Hilling. Leon joined Newland School in 2003 and therefore has been with Newcastle School for Boys since its formation in 2005. Leon is always smartly dressed, in fact immaculate in appearance and totally dedicated to his own physical fitness and physique. There's no surprise really why Leon picked his maths teacher as his role model in school. As well as maths, Leon has studied biology and chemistry and has made Newcastle University his first choice to study biomedical sciences. We wish you all the very best, Leon. Philip Parkinson. Philip joined Newcastle School for Boys in 2010 as a Year 8 boy from Haltwhistle Community School. What has struck me most about Philip is his absolute clear determination to do well no matter what it takes. Philip has always demonstrated a superb sense of humour and a willingness to throw himself into anything and everything on offer at NSB. Philip is a real team player who has participated in Duke of Edinburgh trips and rugby tours during his time here. His A-level choices of maths, ICT and physics have led him to a first choice of studying mechanical engineering at Newcastle University. We wish you the very best of luck, Philip. Richard Warwick. Richard joined Newcastle School for Boys in 2013 and entered our Year 12, having previously been at Dame Allen School. He has certainly looked to squeeze everything he can from his time here. A first-11 cricketer, first 15 rugby player, and Duke of Edinburgh stalwart. His many excellent personal qualities led to him being chosen as head boy. In this role, he has displayed many of the character traits we look to develop in our young men of excellent character, in particular leadership, empathy, and integrity. On first entering the sixth form, Richard started playing rugby for our second 15 and made an immediate impression by renaming the side as the Bulldogs. Now, many of you in the back of the room will know that the name Bulldogs, as the boys like to call the Dogs, that name has stuck with that team, which is rather apt, as I think one player that really epitomises the Bulldog spirit would be Richard Warwick. Richard, we wish you the very best of luck with your first choice to study design engineering at Leeds University.
To invite the boys to come across the stage and to receive their Old Boys tie and their yearbook. To our applause.